house to pick her up every time her husband beat on her. Y'all hear that? Every time her husband would beat on her, he would sneak to her house to pick her up, and she would never come out. Or he'd say, I'm here, and she make up an excuse, my husband this, my husband that, and he believed it. And then it was times when Trina would say, my husband beat me because I got AIDS, because I got gonorrhea, because I got caught sleeping with 3 or 4 other men. And this dude still would not give up. I'm laughing because it's just bringing back so many memories. Excuse me, y'all. But dude would not give up for nothing. She'd be like, yo, I found out today I got an STD or something. This is how far it went, y'all. It went very deep. I know that's wrong, but this is how deep it was. She would be like, I got caught sleeping with 2 men. She'd talk about how she messed with her husband's brother, stuff like that. Now, I never really did any of that stuff, but I listened to enough men's problems that I knew exactly what to say, okay? Because a lot of times the guys were talking to me, you know, a lot of them would talk about their ex-relationships and why they broke up, and that some of that was the reason why they broke up. Because the women were messing with their family members and stuff like that. So that's what Trina was. She was a married woman who was a whore, I thought. She was just really out there. She was saying that she had all these STDs and stuff like that. And yet this guy, if she called and say, come get me, he coming. Didn't matter what time of night it was, what time of morning it was. He was coming to get her. I have pictures of him right now where she would say, take a picture so I know that you're on your way. He would literally take a picture. Had to catch myself on that. He would literally take a picture so that she would know that he was on his way. She did that to him at least 7-8 times. At least 7-8 times in the course of 3 years, because I played this character for 3 years straight. Yes, it was a lot of energy. Well, actually, it wasn't a lot of energy until I started working more. When I started working more, that's when I was like, dang, I can't keep doing all these characters, you know. So, so when the work started coming, I started easing off, you know, from playing the characters. But she would tell him everything that I was doing. And when he texted me, he'd be like, oh, I already know what you're doing. Your cousin told me. Because to mention, Trina was supposed to be my cousin. And he would just always brag on her, just throw her up to me about how she was so bold and stuff. And actually looked at me like I was a weakling compared to Trina. Not knowing that I was Trina the whole time. So I knew exactly what Trina was saying and doing. But anyway, Trina, one night her husband beat her really bad. And Trina got on some drugs and some alcohol. And she said, I'm going down to this certain place. And I'm going to kill myself. And you know how you have sound effects and stuff like that of a gun and all that. And I went as far as to torture that man mentally like that. Because of how he had done hurt me already. And I won't even trust in him. And yet, and still, I still felt hurt. I felt violated. I felt like, yep, he deserves it. That's how I felt. That's how I was thinking in my head at the time. I was like, because if he really wanted to talk to me, he wouldn't have went this far with Trina. But he went 3 years talking to Trina and me. Y'all would have to know my mindset to know how I pulled this off. I almost got caught one night, too, as Trina. I'm going to tell you about that before I get off. But anyway, he did everything he could to get me up out of bed. He video chatted. He did all this stuff talking about your cousin down there about ready to kill herself. And in my head, I'm like, now look at the energy he's spending on her. And could not spend that type of energy to come see me or take me out or anything. So this became very personal. First of all, you trying to get up with my family, my fake family. And now you want me to go see about her because you've been conversating with her back and forth all day long, and now that the heat is hitting the fan, you want me to come out my bed and go see about her. And I said, okay, well, I'm going to call my brother and them and have them go down there. And it just so happened that my brother and them was going to a certain location, and it just fell right into my hands. And it just so happened that night that somebody had to call the police. So guess what? I had footage of the police coming, and I would video it to them. I would video chat it to them and take pictures and all that good stuff. And the ambulance was out too. So I had plenty of footage to confirm that there was definitely something going on. Not the something that he thought, but it was definitely something going on. And so the next time I would hear from him, I said they found her unconscious. She took a lot of pills. She was found unconscious, and the look on his face was pure torture. But the smile in my head was pure delight at the time. It was pure delight. It like literally lit me up. It made me feel good because here I was. I done outsmarted another man. I done caused affliction upon another man who was trying to play me. So to me, I felt really good while he was there suffering on that camera. I could see it in his face. I believe he even dropped a tear. While he was suffering, I was sitting back laughing. Yes, I was sitting back laughing. And I said, well, she's going to the mental ward. And then I would try to talk to him, and he wouldn't talk to me like he did Trina. So one day I say I'm down at the hospital, and I say, well, Trina wants to text you something. And I let Trina text him, and he played it off. I'm glad you're all right. Trina builds his head up and says, well, you're my hero. If it wasn't for you, I would be dead. And then he got all happy about that. But then Trina broke him back down. She said, I wanted to die. Why did you save me? You didn't have to do that. But, let me put this part in there before I forget. Part of the thing Trina said, she told the guy, if you don't tell me you love me, before the pill taken, she was like, if you don't tell me you love me, this is it for me tonight. Because I don't got nothing else to live for. This bastard told her that he loved her, and he never even told me that. And I believed in my soul he really did love Trina. Because he was doing the most for somebody who really didn't exist. You see what I'm saying? He was doing the most for somebody who didn't exist. So when Trina got out, I let Trina rest for about 2 weeks. I didn't play Trina for about 2 weeks because that was exhausting, and stuff like that. And so the guy was like, well, you want to go to the hotel? I was like, sure. At this time, I'm in the streets and stuff. So, yeah, I'm going to the hotels and stuff. And I'm like, yeah, sure. What happened was, Trina texted him earlier and had said, well, Big Block getting ready to go out with somebody. She said, Big Block getting ready to go out with somebody. I don't know who she going with, but she finna go with somebody. And so he waits until I get to the hotel room. And he actually texts Trina back. While we're sitting there in the hotel room, and my phone rings, and I grab it. My phone goes off. He looks at me and I say, oh snap, this is my daughter. I gotta hurry up and take this call. And I go outside and I turn my phone completely off. Now I almost got caught, but still this would go on another year. I mean, that's how deep it was. It would still go on for another whole year of torturing him to the maximum, to the fullest, making him pay for every text, every word said. I mean, it was crazy, y'all. I had the mental strength to do that because, like I said, when you have that passive aggressiveness, laying dormant in you, when it does come out, the strength is incredible as to what you can do. You can literally grab somebody and choke them to death when you have that kind of anger and bitterness inside of you. Now, I know I laugh a little bit, while I'm telling the stories. And that's just who I am. That helps me to relax down some when I get anxious at something. And it kind of just slows me down, slows my thought process down. That's just a part of how I learn how to deal with things. So this guy fell in love with Trina. Definitely in love with her. Definitely in love with her. And I will tell you more about them on tomorrow, because I'm getting down to the wire. But the point was, I made him pay for every text that he sent her. For every good text that he sent her, I made sure I sent the most worst texts that anybody could ever text you. I talked about this man. I talked about him. I talked about how ugly he was, how he thought he was cute. I mean, I insulted him in every way that a woman could insult a man and some. I laid it on him and didn't feel bad about doing it. I didn't have no remorse in my heart for doing it, because of the simple fact, you shouldn't have been playing. That's how I felt. At that time, I felt like you shouldn't have been playing with me. Instead of just walking off from the situation, I was like, you shouldn't have been playing. If you wouldn't have never opened up the door to play, then I wouldn't have played. And I already knew I was in control. Whatever I said had to go. That's the type of anger that I had. Whatever I was saying, that's what you had to go by. And so this guy got ate up bad. He got ate up bad. And he was like in the church too. Like the first church guy. He got ate up bad. Really bad. And he was nasty. I mean, point blank, he was nasty because of how he was doing. He actually thought he was hitting it off with one of my family members. So that told me a lot about him. And all this time, he thought, he really had me in his corner. He was bragging to her about how he had me on lockdown and how I would, jump and do this and I wouldn't do that and stuff. And he never acknowledged me as a girlfriend, by the way. He never acknowledged me as a girlfriend. Instead, he just kept saying, oh, she my friend, she my friend, she my friend. So he didn't have no good intentions from the start. And because I could pick up on those no good intentions, I gave him the best of both worlds. You had sweet little Jamie over here, and you had mean old Trina over here. So he had a bittersweet time. He probably still recovering, by the way. He probably still recovering. That's all I can say on that. But anyway, that was part of the 70. We're going to call him number... Okay, I had number 25 out there last night. Let's just call him number 26. Number 26. That's what... Well, actually, no. Let's call him number 70. He was the last game that I played, actually. So let's just call him number 70. It was... he was the last person that I would actually play like that. So he's number 70, actually. And... I will always say that we overcome through our testimony. And so I hope that someone is listening tonight so that they will know that, people are out here playing games. And when you've been hurt that bad, you don't care who you hurt in your path. It's like a path of destruction, and you don't realize the damage until you get to assessing it and the aftermath and all that. Because I couldn't feel any of that stuff I was doing. I couldn't feel it. It was just a way that I could cope with what was going on. That was the only way at the time that I knew to cope, because that's the way I seen people cope in my family. I seen my family go and pretend to be different people and stuff like that, and I saw that it worked for them. So guess what? The apple don't fall far from the tree. But I thank God tonight for changing my bad habits and correcting me and making them good. All right, y'all. So that's enough.